On regarde dans l'histoire, les meilleurs, c'était des Noirs et des Arabes. À part Platini, Cantona.
Kylian Mbappe, Riyad Mahrez, William Saliba. These are some of the best players in the world, and they all happen to come from the same place, Paris. But this is not the Paris you're imagining.
Emily Cooper?
Bonjour.
Bonjour.
A historic resentment that does not fade, fed every day by racism and isolation.
On est considérés comme des rats.
Qu'on arrête de nous traiter comme des citoyens de seconde zone.
These are the Banlieues. If you look at the French national team and other teams, they often feature players who grew up in these areas and are predominantly of immigrant background from former French colonies. So what's special about these Banlieues? And why do they produce the most world-class football talent anywhere in the world? I found 3 reasons. The answer I found in the Paris region was equally devastating as it was inspiring.
This is not the fake, liberal multiculturalism. This is real, forged in very tough circumstances, born out of colonialism. It's an incredible thing to experience.
But first, let's go back in time. My relationship with the story started long ago.
France 98.
I was 9, and the France 98 World Cup was the first football tournament I ever watched. Every day, my grandfather Salem would turn on the TV, and we'd bond over the games and Arabic commentary. It wasn't until the final, when a player who looked like us, with an Arabic-sounding name, scored 2 goals that mesmerized the world. As a child, I remember feeling in awe that someone who I could identify with just won the World Cup for France.
1,5 million de personnes sur les Champs-Élysées.
It felt special back then, but it was not until my trip to Paris many years later that I truly understood its national and universal importance.
One of the most powerful moments after the World War II liberation in 1945.
The difference is that when Paris was liberated, the parade was totally whitewashed, with the French army denying soldiers from West and North Africa from taking part in the collective memory. And now, over 50 years later, the son of Algerian immigrants is projected on one of the biggest monuments to millions in the city.
Cette équipe de France où chacun peut trouver son idole.
Zidane, il est même pas plein que nous.
This public acknowledgement and the celebration of immigrants changed France forever. And without Zidane and that team's win, there would be no Mbappe today. They paved the way. But for both, it began in the Banlieues.
If you look, you got the aunties and the uncles watching from the building. You got the typical immigrant blanket, bro. Every immigrant household has it. We're in a neighborhood that is predominantly, as you can see, made up of immigrants from African and Arab, North African background. Oh! The white boy scored. They organized a World Cup tournament where different communities and nationalities are represented by a team. Teams from all over the world. You can see the flags. Where are you from?
I'm from Congo.
Congo. What's your name?
My name is Pakito.
Where are your friends from?
Congo, Mali.
Mali represent?
Côte d'Ivoire, Maroc.
Everything.
Everything.
You grow up together, huh?
Yes.
Like family?
Yeah. This is my brother.
Hey. No Palestinians actually live in this community, but they added the Palestinian team because they told me Palestine is in their heart. It's the game of the OGs, the uncles, the grandpas, they're balling now.
Most of post-World War II and post-colonial immigrants to France were placed in the Banlieues.
Il existe un Paris que l'on ne veut pas voir, que l'on ne devrait pas voir.
These were outside the city, segregated from the rest of French society, like the case of the 77, the county I'm in. A concrete jungle for immigrants surrounded by quaint, white French homes in the middle of the countryside. But that also meant these communities with people coming from places like Algeria, the Caribbean, Congo, Guyana, Mali, Morocco, and Vietnam became some of the most diverse in the world, living in really close proximity. This is the first reason some of the best players in the world come from here. The intermixing of nationalities, identities, and cultures infuses itself into the football, creating a unique style of play that becomes a signature of the banlieue.
Bro, my team is playing your team, huh? I'm Palestinian, you're Congo. Palestine, 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 Palestine. Oi. Oi. Oi.
This video is sponsored by our Patreon. You can support our work by becoming a paid member of our Patreon and contribute monthly. It's a place where you can help inform our work, get behind-the-scenes content.
Maybe you sign me, give me a contract? Okay.
And exclusive videos. Sign up and help us grow the channel to tell more stories.
Free Palestine, free Congo, 0-0.
On est aussi dans une région où on n'a pas tous grandi dans les meilleures conditions. Il y a beaucoup de personnes qui sont une minorité, pas forcément d'argent, et c'est un moyen de survivre en vrai le foot.
The banlieues are among the poorest areas in France, with Saint-Denis, the infamous 93, topping that list. That's where Mbappe is from. This is done by design.
And actually it starts with, maternity. It starts with the hospital. Women, when they're of North African or African descent, that are not white, basically, they are less taken care of and less heard by doctors and nurses.
Wow.
And they have a higher mortality rate. That's actually the starting point. And when you think about it, you understand that after that, it's only like just additions.
Just layer upon layer.
Exactly.
It's almost you're born in the minus.
Absolutely. If we are a country and everyone's equal in this country, how do you explain that the schools here are less funded than other schools?
Yeah.
How do you justify it?
Yeah. And probably also experience maybe more police violence.
Yeah.
And all other kind of factors that contribute to this being an incredibly tough area to be in.
Mathieu Rigouste wrote a very interesting book retracing the history of the police that is currently in the banlieue, in the neighborhoods, tracing it back to the police that was in the colonies.
When you draw these parallels, I see a straight line between French colonialism and French racism today. It's an extension.
These harsh and oppressive conditions of the banlieues, and the toughness it takes to survive them, also impacts the football. That's the second reason so many great players come from here. Kids grow up playing street ball, in tight spaces, on concrete courts. These conditions produce a style of play that is highly technical, with a big emphasis on skill and ball control. And it also produces players who are incredibly tough and physical.
It is not soft, huh?
If you can't handle it, you won't be able to last. A perfect metaphor for the banlieue. The banlieues have been vilified by racist and Islamophobic narratives, fueled by French politicians and the media.
Il va falloir nettoyer tous ces quartiers qui sont devenus des zones de non-droit, voire même parfois des zones de non-France.
They are often described as violent, no-go zones that are ruled by Sharia law. For many, football becomes the only way out of the banlieues. And that's the third reason why so many great players come from here, the promise of a better life.
When you take sports, for example, it's one of the last spaces we have in this country to exist, to be visible outside of
mainstream society.
In mainstream society and outside of those stereotypical narratives where we can exist or we can tell our stories. So for a child growing up there, seeing someone who looks like them and who made it in life and who's making the whole world dream is invaluable.
Yeah.
Lui pour professionnel et tous les autres professionnels. Inshallah, inshallah. Abid, who do you want to be like when you are professional? Who's your idol? Cristiano Ronaldo. Cristiano. Ah, no. Messi.
But football offers another vision for change, one not based on leaving the banlieue, but the challenging of the current reality.
On a besoin de vivre ensemble des choses positives.
Parce qu'en général, on parle toujours des quartiers en mal. On veut qu'eux-mêmes déjà, eux-mêmes changent leur regard sur eux-mêmes. Changer le regard sur soi, de montrer qu'on est capable de construire des choses ensemble, que dans la jeunesse, il y a du potentiel, il y a de l'amour aussi entre les gens, il y a de la fraternité. Et le sport, c'est l'activité numéro 1.
This World Cup is one of many grassroots, self-organized tournaments in the Banlieues, part of a growing movement to bring immigrant communities together as a form of self-expression and self-liberation.
And that's why a lot of the most amazing players come from communities like this, because football becomes such an essential part of the identity. It's what kids end up doing every day. It brings people together, and because you have so many different parts of the world represented, you have different styles, you have different cultures, you have different approaches to the game, and when it all melts together, it creates something really beautiful, and it's on full display today.